afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Final Play Sports Wrap. I'm your host, Pete Lubar, and today we're going to talk a little Mountain West Spring Sports. We don't spend much time with that. We cover basketball, we cover football, but there are some spring sports going on. It's a little bit of a slow time for those other sports, and so we're going to talk about what's going on with that. We're going to cover that. We're going to cover the coaching changes in the Mountain West and the impact of those, and we are going to talk about Mountain West expansion. Apparently, Mountain West is interested in expanding or has been talking to schools, and we can talk about that a little bit today. So let's go ahead and get started. First of all, the Women's Golf Championship was held this week, and Mackenzie Hall drained a 40-foot birdie putt to give UNLV the advantage in sudden death overtime, and Mazumi Omezu dropped in a 4-footer to seal the victory as the Rebels defeated the San Jose State Spartans to claim the 2025 Credit Union 1 Mountain West Golf Championship, which was held at the 62-86-yard Dinah Shore Tournament course at the Mission Hills Country Club. So congratulations to UNLV. They are off to the NCAAs, and perhaps San Jose State will join them in the field of 72. The Spartans' Lucia Lopez Ortega claimed the individual title by 4 strokes, and that was San Jose State's third individual crown in the last 4 seasons. So congratulations to Lucia, and we'll move on from that. The men get started this week. San Diego State is the favorite. They are ranked 16th. UNLV is ranked 35th. CSU is 45th. And New Mexico is 48th. Caden Fioroni of UNLV as an individual is ranked 22nd. And Justin Hastings of San Diego State is ranked 34th. So probably those two guys will be the top candidates to win the individual title. UNLV's Zach Little is also fairly highly rated nationally and could finish in the top 3 for sure. So there's besides winning the conference, you can get into the NCAA a lot of different ways. But the format, for those who aren't familiar with it, is essentially there are 6 regions and there are 12 teams in each region, so 72 teams will be in the NCAA tournament. I don't know how many conferences there are, but let's say there's 30, so there's another 40-some teams, 42 teams that get in. If you're New Mexico, if you're Colorado State, there's a really good chance you're going to be in the regional tournaments. And then if you finish in the top 5 in a regional tournament, you qualify for the NCAA championship. There are 30 teams that get into the NCAA championship, and the top individual from a non-qualifying team in the regionals is also invited to the tournament. So there's a team component, and there's a stroke play, individual stroke play component. The first couple of days, if I remember right, is stroke play, and then the teams go to match play, the top teams. So I think it's a match play tournament at the end. I don't know how many teams get in there. I'm going to guess 16. In softball is going on. Nevada leads the conference with a 12-4 record and a 1.5 game lead over San Diego State. The men's tennis championships take place later this week. Boise State is the top seed and has a bye. New Mexico is the 2 seed. The Mountain West only has 7 teams play tennis, so men's tennis. CSU and Wyoming do not do so. Boise is undefeated in conference action this year and 20-4 overall. I think they're ranked about 45th in the nation, though. So even though there's teams that are like 10-10, they're ranked higher than Boise is at 20-4. So I guess it depends on the conference and who you played. Fresno State leads the baseball standings, and they've got a 12-6 record despite an overall losing record of 19-20. Nevada is a half game out at 10-7, and San Diego State is 2 games behind at 10-8, and New Mexico is 9-8, so 2.5 games out. From a coaching standpoint, there were 2 openings in the Mountain West that needed to be filled: Colorado State and New Mexico. Colorado State hired from within, promoting Ali Farouk Manish. Oh man, I have a tough time with some of these names. Ali is associate head coach at Colorado State and was promoted when Nico Medved took the Minnesota job. CSU's lost, some of their talent for sure. A kid named Evans ended up transferring. He was their 3rd leading scorer. Ends up transferring to North Carolina, but they brought in a couple of kids from Illinois and I think North Carolina State. So they've got some kids to replace them. So they should be a competitive team in the Mountain West next year. New Mexico hired Eric Olin from the University of Cal, San Diego, and he replaces Richard Pitino, who took the job in the Big East at Xavier. Eric led the Tritons to a 30-5 record, so a really good record in 25. It was their first year eligible for D1 championship, and they got into the NCAAs and lost in the first round of the tournament to Michigan. They lost by 3 in what was a very competitive game. New Mexico is starting over completely. So New Mexico was particularly hard hit with the coaching changes. Every single player on the roster entered the transfer portal. Donovan Dent was the prize of the portal this year and received a lucrative offer to become a UCLA Bruin. I heard it was north of $4 million. So life-changing money for the kid. Congratulations. And you get to play closer to home. So great for you. Lobo fans expected him to leave, and he did. But I don't think we expected the entire team to leave. True Washington went to Miami. Javon Milicevic and Philip Baraka-Vikkanen followed Richard Pitino to Xavier. Lobos need 7 or 8 players still, so I'm sure this week will be very active in the portal and trying to get some players. If you've got a 6'10" kid who can play, you might have him call the Lobos. Lots of rumors about Mountain West is trying to add additional schools in the Olympic sports outside of football. The latest rumor has them in talks with Utah Valley, which is based in Orem, and possibly St. Mary's if they don't go to the Pac-12, based in the Bay Area. St. Mary's, a traditionally good basketball program, would bring additional cachet to the conference, both from a basketball standpoint as well as bring in the San Francisco market. So I could see why that would make a lot of sense for the Mountain West. Utah Valley, nice WAC team located somewhere between Salt Lake and Provo. They want to be in Utah. They want to be near Salt Lake so that they can get the TV rights and make the media rights appeal go up. So I understand why they would do that, but no one's thinking. I don't think nationally adding Utah Valley does much for the Mountain West. They've also talked about adding UC Irvine, UC San Diego, UC San Diego. So, both of those are in that Southern California market where San Diego State is leaving, and would help with that for a recruiting standpoint and just a market size. And then University of San Francisco, the Dons have also been mentioned. And once again, that gets you right into the media rights area for the Bay Area. And if you got them and St. Mary's and you had San Jose, you'd have a pretty good coverage for the Bay Area. So I could see why the Mountain West might do that. However, to me, football is king. That's where the money is. And if you want to increase the football or the media rights package, to me, it'd be better to grab Tarleton State, Sam Houston, Texas San Antonio. You get some, maybe the Dallas market, the San Antonio market, maybe the Houston market. And that to me would be a much better idea from a recruiting standpoint. And so I'd much rather see them go and add more football properties, and maybe St. Mary's, go St. Mary's and 3 football properties, something like that. So that's my thought on that. We'll see what they do, if anything. I guess it'll play out sooner or later. So still waiting on the media rights negotiation. I don't know if they're waiting to get the package or to get the package so they can offer schools, or they want to offer schools to increase the package. And I don't know what Gloria is doing at this point, but certainly there's smoke, and if there's smoke, there's fire. So we'll see what happens with that. So if you enjoyed today, please subscribe to my YouTube page. And if you need to reach me, you can reach me at the information following this video. Appreciate your time, and I hope you all have a fantastic day. Go Avalanche! Bye.